Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you for this opportunity to let me present. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mukundan, son of Raja Salman alias Rajamohan, and my matric number is S77569. Now, I would like to show how we are going to uh, be leveraging digital skills for a relational database problem solving in accounting information systems. So, I will utilize the digital tools for problem solving, data entry into the Microsoft Access, and present the result through SQL View and Design View. The assignment aim is demonstrate my ability to independently solve the complex problems and solve the digital skills. So now let's jump to the assignment to look through it. So now I'm going to using the data given independently keying the data into the Microsoft Access database, and then I'm going to design the necessary tables and ensuring the adherence to normalization the principles. Let's start there. So first of all, what we are going to do is click view and design view. Then we can key in the tables given in the question, such as appraiser table, lender table, and borrower table. So let's start from the appraiser table. And click OK. So in the appraiser we have two fields, which is appraiser ID, which has numbers. The design is, and then second one is appraiser name. This one is short. Then right click save. Now we can go to the datasheet view and we can see the field here. So now we can key in the details. 8, which is at 1, and then 9, bonus, and that's it. We can click save and close the account, and then click create, click table. Same we are going to do for the lender also. Click design view, since the table has lender, click OK, and we can input the field names. The field names are lender ID, number. Then we have lender name, shortness, and lender address, short name, save. And then open the datasheet view, have input the ID. So now we have recorded appraiser and lender tables, and third we are going to record for the borrower table. Create and click table and click view and design view. So this table is for the borrower. So okay, before I key in the details, I will explain through it. So first of all, we are going to key in all the field name, exactly what we did in appraiser and lender. Okay, once we key in all the field names, we are going to save the borrowers. So what we are going to do is right click and click save. Okay, and then once we click key in the details in the field name, we need to set the data types. Once we set the data types, we can continue to go to the datasheet view. In the datasheet view, we will key in all the detail we have. We give that given in from the questions. Okay, let's key in the details. After we done record borrower table, we need to click database tool and select the relationship. So go to the database tool and click relationship. Okay, once we open the relationship, so here what we are going to do, we are going to match what is same between the three tables to establish the relation between the appraiser, lender and borrower. Because to do that, we are going to double click all the tables on this screen, because this has to appear in the screen. So now we can match. As you can see, appraiser ID is same as in the borrower. So click the enforce parental integrity and click create, and it can be show the relationship. And for lender also we have lender ID. Click the enforce parental integrity and click create. So now we can see the relationship between the appraiser, borrower and lender. So once we finish this, we can save and close. So let's do the queries. So in the queries there are 6 queries that we need to answer by using the Microsoft Access. So the first queries are which borrowers use advert, appraisers, list, borrowing ID, last name and appraiser name. So in the appraiser name, don't forget we need to mention the criteria as the advent appraisal. Okay. So now we open the Access, click create and click query design from the ribbon display option. Once we open first query, we can add the appraiser and borrower table to the screen. Okay, once we did that, we can click the field we want as mentioned in the queries, which is borrower ID, last name and appraiser name. Okay, so here I already mentioned we need to add the criteria as advert appraiser. The Okay, once we did that, we can perform the query. So it automatically show the design view for the query 1, which is query A as mentioned in the question. So then here also we can see the SQL view. Okay, and here and now we can see the query, then save the query as query A. Yeah, now we done the query A. Let's continue to do with the query B, which is list all the property appraiser with the letter D in the name, sort by name. Okay, list the appraiser ID and appraiser name. This is the question that we are going to do. Okay, so let's go to the Access, create, click the create and click the query design from the ribbon display option. And as you can see, the query B was already mentioned only going to be a seed table appraiser. So click the table appraiser because it's happen only between the appraiser ID and appraiser name. Okay, and once we click the both appraiser ID and appraiser name, it will be appear below here. So once it's appear, we can do the adjustment as mentioned in the question. Sort the appraiser in ascending order, then mention the criteria which is mentioned in the question is D. Okay, now we can run the query. Okay, as you can see, this is the appraiser query in the data that can be seen in the datasheet view. Now we can see the SQL view also. and this is the SQL view as we are done here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is right click, save, and save as query b, and click OK. Wow, once we're done we can close this. Now let's continue with question C. So here have already list all the lender who have participated in the transaction that used in appraiser ID 8 and provide lender name, borrower ID and required note amount only. Okay, so this is the question that we are going to do in the Microsoft Access. So open the Microsoft Access, go to the create, then click query design, and it happened only between borrower and lender. So we no need to click appraiser, just click borrower and lender. Okay, and after we done this, we can click down the field we want as in question, lender name, borrower ID, requirement mode amount, and lastly the appraiser ID. So here we don't want to show the appraiser ID in the datasheet view, so unclick that. But here they have mentioned the criteria they mentioned was they need ID number 8. So once we done below here everything, we can click run. Yeah, now you can see the datasheet view. Then we can also see the SQL view here. And this is the answer for the query C. So now we can save as query C. And once we're done, we can close. Now let's continue with query D. List the lender that need more than 100, that lend that more than 100k. So in this question, they only asked us to provide the lender name and appraiser name only, and only that list each convenient of lender name and appraiser name once. Okay, that's it. They are mentioned in the question. So let's go to the Access, create, click query design, and in this question we have all the three tables. Okay, so in this table they already need all the table. So from the lender they need lender name, and then from the appraiser they need to see the appraiser name, and lastly they have mentioned the requirement amount is more than 100,000 ringgit, I mean $1,000. So click that also. Okay, once we click that, then has the question mentioned the criteria was the requirement amount is more than, is more than 100k, but they don't want to show the borrower requirement amount in the question, so just untick the show. And once we done here, we can run, and here is the details that you can see in the datasheet view, and this is the answer also. And now let's see the SQL view. Yes, and this is the answer that we need, and right click, save it, save as query B. Let's continue with question E. In this question, they already asked what is the average amount borrowed from each lender. So this is the question that we're going to do in the Microsoft Access. And they already asked for the lender ID, lender name, and the average mortgage amount, and sort the average mortgage amount in descending order. Consider using round bracket to present at two decimal place. Okay, so let's do the question. So click create and query design, and once we did that, click total and lender and borrower. Okay, so in the question they only ask to provide lender ID, lender name, and requirement mode amount. Okay, once we click the field we want, we can go to the below to do the adjustment. So change the total group by to average in the requirement mode amount, and once we change that, we need to mention average mode amount. Once we sort of that, we need to sort the average mode amount in the descending order. Once we did that, go to the properties. Yeah, we can see here the format, and format here has fixed and two decimal places. Okay, then close. Okay, once we are done that, we can run the query, and this is the answer we get for that. Okay, and we can see the SQL view, and now we can see the answer very clearly. Save as query E, and now we can close. Okay, now let's do our last query, which is how many appraisal did each appraiser performs, and they asked to provide the appraiser name and count of appraisal in the Microsoft Access. Let's do that. Go to the create and then click the query design from the ribbon option, and once we click that, we can open the table for appraisal and then borrower. Okay, once we click the appraiser name and borrower ID, don't forget we need to click total from the above, because they ask to provide total and count of appraisals. Okay, so we need to click that, then click appraiser name and borrower ID. Once we click that, we can do the adjustment here, the total. So here we can see the total for the borrower ID change to count, and then we do changes in the field name for the borrower ID to count of appraisals. Appraisals, and open bracket for the borrower, close bracket, put the full stop, open bracket, and mention here borrower ID, and close the bracket. Now we have mentioned, this one has mentioned in the question, so now we can click the run. So we can see the datasheet view here. This is the answer for the question, and we also want to see the SQL view. And this is the SQL view, the exact answer we get from the queries. So without wasting our time, let's say has query have, and click OK. And that's it. We have done all our queries that mentioned in the question, and we also finished our question that mentioned in this assignment. And thank you for everything that you have patiently listened to my presentation.